Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar hosted by the MassRobotics Healthcare Robotics Working Group. I'm Juan Necochea, Director of Strategic Partnerships at MassRobotics, and I'm very excited to have you all here as we explore healthcare robotics with one of our valued partners, ABB. They are a global leader in automation and robotics, and we're also joined here by Festo, another key sponsor supporting the advancement of healthcare robotics. At MassRobotics, we are the largest independent robotics hub dedicated to accelerating robotics innovation, commercialization, and adoption. Our mission is to help create and scale the next generation of successful robotics, automation, and AI technology companies by providing innovators and startups with the workspace, resources, connections that they need to develop, prototype, test, and commercialize their products. Our working groups are open to the entire robotics, automation, and AI community, and they are designed to meet industry needs while driving the development and adoption of robotics for both industry and public benefit. We encourage everyone interested to reach out and get involved. Currently, we have working groups in areas such as drones, AMRs, autonomous vehicles, and of course, healthcare. I'd like to thank all of you who have shown interest in joining our healthcare robotics working group, and I'll follow up after this event with more details on how you can participate. I'd also like to highlight our Healthcare Robotics Startup Catalyst program, which we run in collaboration with Festo, Mitsubishi Electric, Novanta, and MITRE. This program is designed to support healthcare robotics companies by offering mentorship, access to resources, and opportunities to connect with key industry stakeholders. The program focuses on areas such as clinical care, pharmaceutical and hospital automation, precision and regenerative medicine, and assistive technologies. Companies can benefit from expert mentorship, introductions to potential customers and investors, and strategic guidance from medical professionals. Participants will also have the opportunity to showcase their solutions at major robotic events in Boston. The applications for the next cohort are open until November 1st, and I encourage companies working in healthcare robotic projects to apply. Today, we'll hear from José-Manuel or Chema Collados, ABB Service Robotics Product Line Manager. José-Manuel will share how ABB's innovative solutions are automating critical processes, improving precision in diagnostics, and driving real-world healthcare application. After the presentation, Johannes Linzbach, head of Festo's Research Hub in Boston, will engage in a 10-minute demo with Chema before opening the floor to participant questions. It's important to note that Johannes's questions will be followed by a dedicated time for audience questions to ensure everyone's input is represented. Now, before we begin, just a few quick housekeeping notes. This webinar is being recorded and will be shared publicly after the event on MassRobotics platform. Please stay muted during the presentation to avoid background noise. If you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat, and Johannes will address them during the participant Q&A session as time permits. And now I'd like to hand it over to José-Manuel to share ABB's innovative solutions in healthcare. Chema, over to you.
Thanks for the introduction, Juan, and thanks for the opportunity to become part of MassRobotics. Yesterday we were announcing our partnership with MassRobotics, and we are really excited to be part of this community. So very happy to work with you guys. Thanks to Colleen and thanks to Johannes also. We've been working many years with Festo. It's one of our, I would say, our best partners, for partner for many years, and it's a joy to be here together with them also, and together with Johannes. And that's why I say hello to Jas. Jas is Jas and I work in the same team. She's the communication manager for Service Robotics, which is the team that I'm also part of. So thanks to Jas for the preparation for this presentation. And well, the question from Juan, we've been invited to explain the experience from ABB in healthcare application. So I'm leading the team in ABB for life science and healthcare, and I'm super happy to explain you some of the things that we have learned and show you some of the projects that we've been working on. And very happy to continue the discussion outside of this presentation when needed. So yeah, again, my name, José-Manuel Collados or Chema Collados. Chema is the nickname for José Manuel. I'm originally from Spain, where I was born, but I've been living since more than 5 years ago in the US, where I've been leading the global accelerator of ABB Robotics for Healthcare. I'm going to explain you a little bit more about that, where we've been working inside Texas Medical Center with a reduced team of people, very committed and very excited to learning. A little bit about my background, been working 25 years in ABB. I'm an electrical engineer. I've been working all the divisions in ABB, started in robotics, work a lot of many years for automotive, which is where robots have been used for many years. But then I've been working in, my passion is building new teams. I've been working in power electronics, solar, water, and now life science and healthcare and service robotics. And I'm the global responsible in ABB for the service robotics business, and service robotics is an industry name that refers to all the applications outside of manufacturing and logistics, where robotics has been used for many years. So it's the new fields of robotics. So ABB is a large company, so we are a truly global company, more than 100,000 employees. We are in more than 100 countries, and we are truly decentralized and global. We work in different industries, but mostly in applications related to energy efficiency and automation. And I work in one of the 4 divisions of ABB, which is robotics and discrete automation. So again, we are also a large division within ABB Robotics with 11,000 employees. You see some of the data from us and some of the places where we are. So again, global company working from many different places and also with many different industries. One thing particular about ABB is that we are very proud that we have a really broad range of automation solutions and robots. We delivered the first industrial robot to the market 50 years ago when ABB Robotics was born. So we've been in the industry for more than 50 years, and we have a range of all type of robots, cobots, big, small, medium, 6-axis, 4-axis, mobile robots, different kind of controllers, application software and functional packages, standard cells and systems. We have a truly strong software supporting the automation for all our products and systems, and we are very proud of some of our tools, like for example Robot Studio, we believe is a really great simulation tool that we will be using, and we are wanting to support MassRobotics in the use of Robot Studio and also some of our robots. And of course, being a global company and being close to our customers, is very important that we have the right service close to the customers and with the right service packages. Very important, not for the robots or for the solutions. Robotics, we've been in robotics since more than 50 years, as we were saying, and robotics started very likely in the automotive, I believe, where robots have been utilized for many years and still automotive is one of the largest industries for robotics. Very important for us. Some years ago, there was a revolution with electronics, and we've been part of, and many robotics companies are part of this revolution, and that's how, for example, the collaborative robots were born, when we needed to have collaborative robots close to people. So technology evolved with the new challenges and the new applications. Robotics has also achieved a small and medium size enterprise. So for general industry, it was not only the big General Motors or Ford or Tesla that have robots, but a small warehouse or a small factory with 1 or 2 robots have already access and using already since Some years ago, we already saw, and we've been living the revolution of logistics with the Amazons and the online commerce and a big change and a big revolution. And today, logistics is the largest market in robotics. But there are new segments, and this is what Jas and I, we are working on. And we believe that, and we call this service robotics. And we believe that life science and healthcare is the new field of robotics. So very happy to explain you about that. We believe that there are others, like we were going to see more robots in food service, in kitchens, in even in retail, but healthcare and life science is the next one that is happening now. When we look into a healthcare process, first, why this is happening? So, well, there are drivers. So, and I think we are all aware of the challenges. We have a elder population. We have rising costs of healthcare. We have more advanced healthcare treatments and personalized medicine. So this is getting more complex. There are more choices. We need to treat more patients. At the same time, the technology is evolving around, and in your case, with robotics, automation, vision, artificial intelligence, and there is a need and a willingness from the healthcare service companies to find solutions to this. So we believe that if we work together and we really focus on these drivers, we will be able to have a better service for all of us, and there are opportunities to improve the system. We believe that robotics can be part of the solution. When we started, I was mentioning in 2019, I relocated to Houston, where we started with an accelerator, and our concern, okay, we have been working for many years with pharma, and in some cases with medical device manufacturers and having robots inside medical devices, but we really needed or wanted to have a very structured approach. And in order to do that, we needed to build a team that have certain capabilities. So we need to know some other things, not only about automotive or robotics, but also other things. What are we going to do? What is the need? What is the process? We needed also to have the right process. So we are aware healthcare is a regulated business. It's very sensitive. We are working close to people. So make sure that we understand the regulation and that we follow the procedures. That's why we wanted to do it from a small, very focused team. And also, well, of course, we wanted to have from ABB that this is going to be also another line of business for us. So same wise as we do in other businesses, but starting from the start, what is the business development, what product we sell, and how do we execute our projects so that our customers are going to be happy. This is a process of a healthcare process, or a diagram of a healthcare process from beginning to end. No, I'm super simplified, but I think it shows quite well. From starting from the pharmaceutical companies that build research on new therapeutics, produce them, they take them. We see in some cases medical device companies that will have robots or automation without the devices. They need automation partners, and then within the hospitals we have all the supply chains within the hospitals, the intralogistics, and the laboratories, pharmacies, and all medical devices. At the end, we have the patients. So where do we see the opportunities, or where we've been working? Well, there are many opportunities, and of course we are all aware of surgical robots, which is amazing technology, but how from ABB or from industrial companies we can be relevant in this field. So we've been looking and we found some opportunities or areas where the need exists today, no? And in some cases these are very new, but we want to tackle and to prepare in the best way. So the first one would be in the working with the pharmaceutical companies, and we are not going to talk about manufacturing or logistics because this is what we knew already, but really about the research around the research and development laboratories, and also the robots within the medical equipment or laboratory equipment. Yeah, and this is one example. This is a project that we did within Texas Medical Center, in Texas Children's Hospital, and Baylor University. This is a research lab. In research lab, they use and it's a genetic lab. So they use fruit flies, they use Drosophila flies to research about our genes. So fruit flies have a lifespan of 6 to 8 weeks. So and curiously, they have very similar cell brains that humans. So looking into fruit flies, we can understand the effect of different genes or the difference of how some therapeutics can affect genetic diseases like Alzheimer or Huntington disease. The problem is the laboratories is that the operators or the researchers that are working in these laboratories need to do some repetitive tasks. They need to take care of these flies. Every week they will need to change the bias where the flies are to change it for new fresh bias with the right food. So using automation, it's possible to reduce this further in a way. So we were really happy to do so. There were some challenges. So using collaborative robots and the challenge in that project was really that the equipment is not fit for automation. So you need a robot that is able to sense and to feel what is touching, and we were able to do that. The second example that I'm showing is a collaboration with Extalpi. Extalpi is a company that in US is based in Boston. So they have an office in Kendall Square, and they have a demonstration lab. So you can see what I'm showing to you. And basically, they build their own labs. They have a artificial brain on top of these laboratories, and by doing so, they are able to accelerate the research for chemical analysis. And they work especially with the pharmaceutical companies, but also with chemical companies. So they were working, for example, with Pfizer, with the development of Paxlovid, that is the latest therapeutics of COVID. And by using this system, using robots, automation, the artificial intelligence brain, they were able to reduce the time of the chemical stability test for this drug. Normally it would take some 6 months. They did it in 2 weeks. So they are able to accelerate and very meaningful impact using technology, and something that was very new. And now they are working with other companies. But if we were inside of the hospital, there are also another places where we've been working on. Yeah, and one example is the fulfillment centers. In this case, it's a pharmacy. And yeah, we always look how we can use the technology that we have already. And the technology, and this was a case that was built in Shanghai 7 Hospital in China. So what happened in China is there is a new regulation that is requiring the people working in the pharmacy to be trained, to have the university training, and there are issues in some hospitals. So using technology, this is possible to use robots, and in this case, we are using a flex buffer, that's a storage and retrieval system that is taking boxes outside of the storage system, taking these boxes in front of a robot that has an item picker software that is vision, 3D vision combined with artificial intelligence, and another robot at 2600 ABB robot is able to pick the right drug and separate on the prescription for a certain patient. So again, doing the preparation and having to complete traceability of the system. Very simple solution, but also very, very meaningful in this case. Yeah, we are good seeing that also the logistics within hospital is another area where there are needs and there are companies looking for solutions. And the last one that I want to show you, these are the clinical laboratories where, yeah, we see that some diagnostic companies or laboratories are looking for automation. And there is a lot of automation existing, same like the pharmacy. The problem is the scale of the automation. So we see there is total lab automation available for very large laboratories, but the issue of our customer that it was Linzbach Group or MBZ in Germany was the size of the hospital and the operation. Not so big laboratory. still quite big and still require a lot of work. So yeah, by using robots, we are able to maintain 24/7 operation, which was a challenge, and at the same time, this is a very flexible system using collaborative application and save the operators are able to work around the automation, and the system can work with robots and people at the same time. So very, very flexible automation, at the same time maintaining the right production and keeping the production 24/7 and also with the right price. So these are some examples. I wanted to show you, okay, this is the complete workflow. So we were looking into the research lab. We were looking into the supply chains within the hospitals. We've been looking into the laboratories, and we can find also applications within many different kind of medical robot, medical devices, like surgical robots or CT scanners or rehabilitation, or the ones that I showed you. But the future, we believe that, well, in order to be relevant in this industry, well, we are very much aware. So we are working in a very sensitive area. So we need to have the robots that have the right preparation, the right certification, and they need to be compatible, with the regulator, but also with the environment. And one very critical aspect is how we clean the robots and how we clean the equipment and how we make sure that they work, that they are safe. Mobile robots, this is a trend in many industries, and this is nothing new. I think you know very much about this in this group, but also in robotics, also in healthcare. In healthcare, there are different challenges. Again, the environment needs to be clean, the space is very limited, the equipment is very critical, the traceability needs to be in a certain way, and so everything needs to be taken care of. Collaborative robots, again, I don't think it's nothing new for you. You are already working very much, but also maybe the robots that will need to work in this environment will need to have a certain features, and we are really working there. And the last one, I'm not mentioning here artificial intelligence, but I would say that is within the last one. So it's the next level usability. So the challenge in service robotics, the challenge in general in this field is that we are coming to environments where it's not a automotive factory that has 2,000 robots. It's a laboratory that will have one or two, and maybe in many different applications. And the job that the people is doing is not focused on the automation, focused on the patients. So they need to be easy to use. So we are really, when we work with AI, we were showing the item picker before, is really making sure that the robots are able to understand and work together with people in the best possible way. And there are many things about this next level usability, about the hardware, the software, the human-machine interface, and the use of artificial intelligence also. So this is super summary view, and I'm super happy to continue the discussion with Johannes and you, and also continue with you as part of MassRobotics, if it makes sense.
Sure. Gemma, thank you very much. That was super valuable insights for like the strategy, how you approach that new market. And it's pretty impressive to see like how many of the industrial companies are moving into the lab automation space at the moment because there is a real need for that, for sure, and a lot of opportunities. And so therefore I have a couple of questions, but as Juan already mentioned, if there are any questions from the audience, please place them in the chat. We will collect them, and then we will have some time to go through that in addition. Yeah. Okay, Gemma, for the beginning, like the challenge is also, you mentioned like every lab has like just one or two robots at the end. It's not a factory, of course, and also almost every lab is somehow different. Of course, maybe some equipment is doubling or the same in different labs, but specifically when it comes to academia, labs can differ a lot. And how much of these lab processes do you cover, and how do you assess of like how could an application in a lab look like?
Yeah, well, there are many different kinds of laboratories, and also within a laboratory there could be different levels. No, I try to explain myself better. And we are working in laboratories in the clinical lab. Today we saw an example, but there are opportunities also in research. We were also showing the sample with the scalpi that can be applied to pharma, healthcare, or other industries like cosmetics, chemicals, oil and gas. So what is interesting is that many of the applications and the tools and the problems could be very similar. The requirements can be very different. And then within a lab, if we look into the clinical lab, there are also different levels. So in a clinical lab, you will always have basically maybe three. So the pre-analytical is the samples are coming to the lab, they need to be sorted, they need to be prepared, maybe they need to be labeled, maybe they need to be changed from the container. Then there is the analyze, and then there is the post-analytical or where the samples might need to be stored in a fridge or in a certain way. And then when we look into a quality control or research lab in any industry, you will always have a sample preparation. So a sample will need to be prepared, then will need to be analyzed or go through a certain process, and then they will, and they will need to be transported in between. So many often in a clinical lab, you will have certain ways, but in an industry, many often you need to bring samples from the factory floor to the lab that maybe is even in a different building. No, so it's interesting how the problems differ, and sometimes they are very similar.
Awesome. Like staying in that environment, because ABB, of course, has a certain range, and as you said before, like Festo and ABB, for example, we are partnering for different lab automation solutions at the end. But how does that look like if somebody's getting in a project together with you for automating a lab? Do you pull, or how do you pull like different partners in there to enable the automation solution?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, what is clear in this industry, in any industry, but especially on the new ones, we don't have all the answers from ABB. So it's a partnership, and what we start to have some discernment. So we know, okay, this is a problem for Extalpa. Now we need to bring Festo because there is 7-axis and there is all the fluid and pneumatics and all the technology that needs to be very quickly. We are able to see. It's also very important at the beginning to screen. Okay, what are we talking about? Is it a medical device? Is it a non-medical device? Are we talking about a diagnostics? So yeah, screening and knowing, and then building this network of partners. That is what we are looking for also in MassRobotics. That we are okay because we need to work together to solve these problems.
Mm-hmm. Cool. For on the customer side, at the end of the day, because I know we had those discussions in industry also for a long time. For example, like collaborative robots and so on. Like the acceptance of the technology in the industry, that was like a larger discussion. What do you perceive like in labs? How is the discussion there? How is the technology acceptance of like automating those processes at the end?
It depends very much on the type of lab also. So we see that there are more robots in research labs. So if you go to Society of Laboratory Automation exhibition, for example, it's every 2 years. 1 year is in Boston, the other is in San Diego. Last year this year it was in Boston, and next year is in San Diego. Maybe this is this is very much connected to research labs. So this way we see more penetration of robotics. Why? Because the regulation is maybe less, the need is very strong, and there is a stronger need for flexibility. So, and we see many companies that are super advanced, working for many years, and especially here in US. While in other type of laboratories like clinical lab, there are more barriers. The barrier in the clinical lab is the regulatory, but especially is the it's a market that is dominated by the diagnostic companies that have their own automation, and there are some few. So they are the ones, and in some cases the solution will be part of a medical device that will take years to develop. So yeah, it's a matter of time and regulation, yeah, and also willingness of the industry, of need of the industry.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, awesome. I will just weave into here some questions also from the audience, because it fits perfectly here, because we also have a question from regarding the healthcare market. So is ABB exploring robotic applications beyond lab automation and pharmaceutical use?
Yes, we are. The reality is that it's also working with partners, so companies that will all medical device manufacturers or will be led by the company that that have the medical expertise. And yeah, we have some. So we have a small team that is focused on this. But we help this expertise to really have this dialogue with these companies, if it makes sense, and that they have the power, the name, the technology, and we are working together with them. So I was mentioning before some cases, but there are many things related to logistic and managing of the hospital equipment, rehabilitation, CT scanners, or even surgical robots. It could be possible that industrial robot can be part of that process, but always led by the company that has the expertise, that is the medical device developer, if it makes sense, when we talk about healthcare application.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, regarding the surgical robots, we have a deepening question here also from the audience. So are you or is ABB exploring the development of surgical robots capable of performing highly sensitive operations where precision and reliability are critical?
We are not building surgical robots, but we know there are some companies that are looking into the opportunity of using robots and collaborative robots. It's true that industrial robots and collaborative robots are achieving a level of precision and accuracy and reliability that is super remarkable, no? But in this case, we will use our robots as components. So again, this needs to be assessed by the company that builds but we know that there are some companies that are looking into this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the other side of that, of course, is closely related to regulatory questions at the end. And we also have a question here, do robotics used in hospitals require FDA approval, and what specific regulations apply in the clinical environment for electrical security, patient safety, for example?
Yeah, well, there are different levels, so maybe we can focus on the medical device regulation itself. So and of course, and that also varies between the countries. No, in the case of US, yeah, or we all know it's FDA regulation, and basically a solution can be a medical device or not medical device. If it's a medical device, there are different levels. So there are 3 categories within FDA, and I'm super summarize how it works. But basically it's category 1, category 2, category 3. Again, super summarize. Category 3 would be devices that are very critical. So I think if they fail, a patient can be harmed. Or can die, a pacemaker, for example. A category 2 could be, and again, in general, solutions that if they fail, can harm less. A patient can give a wrong diagnostics, for example, and these are in many cases diagnostic devices. So maybe I will do a test, I will tell you, hey, Johannes, you need to take these pills because you have this illness, and if it's wrong, that's bad. And category 1 are less so typical that, okay, if you fail, maybe a sample will be lost, and maybe you need to go to the point of care again to take your blood taken, no? There are different requirements for the different kind of medical devices, but the basic one and the common one is that if a product is a medical device, it needs to be built following a certain quality process. That is basically good manufacturing procedures, that is very similar to ISO 13485, and it means that you need to take into account certain things when you build medical devices. But if you go up the level, then it requires that the product needs to be clear or needs to be approved by FDA, and certain steps need to be taken into account. What is clear is that building medical devices is extremely critical. It requires to have the right knowledge, and is regulated.
Awesome. Yeah, then maybe let's shift a bit to technology, because we have, of course, some questions in the chat, but I also brought some here. And I was curious because I saw examples of like very highly sophisticated picking applications, for example. And I'm very curious in terms of like how is ABB integrating AI into its healthcare strategy here?
Well, the reality is that ABB is working on products that require and use AI. Sometimes we say we use AI for very basic things, to do the basic stuff. No, the sample that I was showing today is very relevant because it's item picker, where we use adaptive AI to look into a box and understand what is inside, tell the robot how to grasp the things, and then identify and grasp in the right way, and then maybe register, pass through a barcode, and order in the right way, and then follow up. So these are the kind of things that we do. AI is being utilized. Of course, everyone is talking about AI, and there are many companies in healthcare and many companies in the US developing technology, and this is amazing. Using a lot related to vision. So where you are able to look into a sample and understand and maybe provide a diagnostics. So, for example, in tissue diagnostics, there for years we have seen that there are the scanners for the tissue slides, but now there are some companies that are on top of these scanners, they are able to see and provide some information to the physician in principle. Okay, this is a critical slide and you should look here, and this is what so they are able to see better than a human eye. There is a lot of development there, also related to surgery and other things. In this case, again, what we do is try to collaborate with those companies that will require, okay, what we want now is that a robot will take the sample and do something. Maybe we'll leave it in a certain place and we'll communicate with that system. But we are not into very medical applications. So we are developing technology with AI for our own things, really, for our automation, to make our automation smarter, to make the robots easier to use, and to be able to do some things as item picker, or navigating in a lab without bumping into someone or into some equipment, and understanding the environment better.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Bit more specific, we had this question here, like if ABB is using reinforcement learning in those applications at the end of the day to identify objects.
Yeah, item picking in reality is what it does. So the system is really learning. So while we use the system, it's working better and better. And of course, the same, and also take the example of Excelpy. So the robots are doing tests. You will start the first test. Depending on the result of this test, the system will take the decision what is the next test that the robot will do. And the robot can be working non-stop, doing a chain of tests that at the end will come to a certain conclusion. Same way that a researcher does. Excelpy is a very good example. There are very good examples. For example, there is a group in University of Liverpool that is working very much on this. They have a lot of, they are very well known in the robotic world, and they are working with this idea. Laboratories that will self-teach and self-learn, and the more you use them, the more clever they will become, and they will be able to take better choices.
Mm-hmm. In terms of like the technology to be used in terms of hardware and software, so which hardware and software components are built in-house at your end, and what is provided by partners usually? Was also a question from the audience.
Yeah, it's very broad. So I think in this case, I'm not sure that it can be 100%. Well, we always work with partners, so we don't build our own computers or have our microprocessor. We always need to work with other companies, and we have our AI that can be implemented within the ABB controller with some ABB software, or very often collaboration with other companies, and especially when we move on to these very specific applications. ABB is working very much on this, again, software around our robots that will make our robots easier to use and smarter, but that can apply to any industry. So logistics and pharmacy will be very, very similar. But then when you will see into the specific, okay, now you need to take a decision or look into something to make a diagnostic, this is where for sure we always will work with other companies.
Mm-hmm. And also pretty much related to that, because you mentioned like the ease of use at the end of automation equipment, in particular in the lab automation environment. So what is like the approach for you to, on the one hand, make it easier to use your products, but maybe also to integrate like other parties' components here?
Yeah, well, here there are many also different answers, and take the example of the laboratory, which is only one, but you can take any other part of the lab. But within the laboratory, they are, well, first, we can build drivers, and we have built drivers of our robots to certain equipment. And this can be done, and that is something that we can do. There are some softwares also in laboratories that are, well, first, what it would be interesting is to follow, maybe there are some protocols that are start to take certain very much important in this field. In the case of laboratories, SILA. So SILA is a protocol that many companies we are starting to use, ABB also. And if you use this protocol, it would be easier to connect different devices and to build the software in a certain way. But then there are industry-specific software, no? So, for example, in research labs, there are many here in US. So you have a Celario or Green Button Go, which we use very often from BioZero. These are off-the-shelf software that are created for automation. So you can, and there are drivers available. If you buy a license of this software, and if you go to their web, you will see all the lab equipment and robots that they can already connect, like ABB robots or others. So that could be a way if you want to build some automation. And then there are some companies that have their own software. For example, ABB announced, just before SLS this year, the partnership with Melder Toledo. So Melder Toledo, we are working together with them in quality control and research labs, and they have a fantastic software that is called LabX. The advantage of this software is that it's GMP compliant. So it means it's a software, if you use this kind of software, you can implement some solutions in a pharma company or an GMP environment. So there are many ways. You will find that if you go a certain industry or others, you are going to find a certain environment or companies that dominate or software that dominate that or that are better suited. But again, if someone has some question, super happy to support with our experience on what is the case.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I will come back to that. So, so we are getting close to the end of the webinar. So we have so many questions. Thank you very much for that. So we might not be able to get all of them today. But feel free to reach out to us afterwards. But I have one question which is in particular nice for like the closing remark, because we have also a lot of students here in the chat from different universities. And one question here was like the field of biomechatronics. So what fields of study in biomechatronics would be good to focus on and research for a career in medical devices, rehabilitation robots, and surgical robots? So the question is like, do you have any suggestions what might be good to give students here an idea to which path to follow to move into this field?
Wow, that's a difficult question. It made me think. But yeah, the reality is I don't think I have a good answer, but I tell you what I do and what I really enjoy and why I'm so lucky working in ABB and working in a new field. I like to learn. So you should follow what you like most. No, if you like medicine, if you can be in a surgical room, and why not work on surgical robots? There is so much. The industry is just starting, so the field is just open. So try, but this is how I feel, and if I look into any of them, there is so much that needs to be done. So the current technology will need to evolve. So if we think about surgical, not an expert, but I have seen a lot of companies doing and a big growth. This is the area maybe in robotics that we believe is the largest today, and it's going to be the largest for many years, surgical robots. So it's not our specialty, but it's very relevant and super meaningful. But then, think about rehabilitation robots. The robots that we see today need to evolve to be touching a patient and sensing even better. So technology will need to also a lot. So that's super interesting. And then what we do is not bad. So I would say, why not industrial robots, collaborative robots, laboratory automation, logistics, can work for ABB or Festo.
Sure. Yeah. Lovely. All right, Gemma, thank you very much. And first of all, thank you all for participating in our today's webinar. I hope you found some insights shared by ABB here, which are valuable to you, and maybe you were able to get deeper understanding of the lab automation field and which opportunities are there for automating also maybe your processes. And of course, Gemma, I'd like to extend special thanks to you for this presentation. And I think that's was a super active webinar at the end of the day. I really much appreciated that. And I also love to see this industry growing, the lab automation field, and also as Festo to be part of it at the end of the day. And I just want to spoil some advertising also for the different working groups we have. So as a reminder, the recording of this session, first of all, will be made available on the MassRobotics platform shortly. So feel free to revisit it, and to share it with your colleagues who are not able to attend today. And I'd like also to encourage companies working in the healthcare robotics environment to apply to the Healthcare Robotics Startup Catalyst Program, where we have the 4th cohort running at the moment. This is a great opportunity for startups to receive mentorship, access to resources, and connect with key industry players. And applications are open until November this year, November 1st. And so don't miss out the chance to be part of our next cohort here. And you will recognize some of the faces here in the chat today. And thanks again for joining us. And if you're interested to join us in any of the working groups, please feel free to reach out to Juan. And also for any unanswered questions, please reach out to him. He will forward any requests to Gemma or me, depending on the angle of the question. All right. Thank you very much, and see you soon.